Hey, this is Wileen Benson, and you are on the Daily Gratitude Call, where we start every day in gratitude. Gratitude is the highest energy state that we can be in. It creates a frequency of positive vibration that attracts positive experiences into our lives. Hey everybody, this is Wileen Benson. This is our Daily Gratitude Call. Thank you for joining our call today. Look forward to what we get to learn today. I appreciate everybody who's here live and the things that you've shared already with our rounds of gratitude. We do 3 rounds of gratitude before we start the recording to kind of get us warmed up. And I definitely felt a theme. And it seemed like there were 2 different things, but as I looked at it, it kind of was coming together as one. There were a lot of things suggested that they love, like the beautiful weather. Some of us are in 70-degree weather. Some of us are in a winter wonderland. Some of us are in probably higher than 70-degree weather. Tammy, who's up in Alaska, mentioned about ice puddles turning into an ice rink. They're in Alaska. So definitely some lots of shares about the weather and gratitude there, cycles in weather. And then there also were quite a few shares about cycles of change, like Sabbath reflection, like reflecting over the week, loving that opportunity to be able to reflect over the week and start a new week. I am really grateful for a new week as well. Next level of alignment. Robert shared that he had reached a really amazing milestone in his book, that he's finished his story, 106,000 words. And that's awesome. So ready for the next layer of that book. And cycles of the body, just being able to shift your thoughts to raise your vibration or to heal, like just lots of things that had to do with cycles and patterns and like new layers, new levels, things like that. And the word upcycling came to me, and I crossed it out at first. And but the more that I sat there, I was like, nope, that's it. So that's what we're going to focus on. Gratitude for upcycling. And I know that that's actually a thing. And so there might be some other things that come to you other than what I've already shared. And that's totally great. And we're going to do a 90-second meditation to see where your thoughts take you. So I invite you to just put everything down. If you're listening to this as a podcast, just participate fully for this 90 seconds and just be open to a private silent meditation on what you can learn from gratitude for upcycling. Just write down whatever comes to you. Begin. All right. the thing that came to me was actually upcycling. So upcycling is like when you take junk and turn it into something amazing. So it's like recycling, but it's better. And a couple of thoughts came to me. My daughter, last week, we do almost every year we make some sort of ornament for our Christmas tree. And one of the ornaments that we did were these little bear ornaments made out of pom-poms and walnuts, and they're just super cute. And I've noticed that my daughter has shared that. She actually did a little ornament making party at her house last week, and they made these ornaments. And so she, gave them a list of what they needed, and came together. And she brought some things that I had at my house, and everybody else brought some stuff, and they came together and created these little bear ornaments. And also my sister-in-law, I just noticed she had posted some super cute ornaments that she had made out of walnuts and little sticks and pipe cleaners, and they were little birds on a stick, with the pipe cleaners were their legs, and then the walnuts were the head and the body. And then they just put little Santa hats on top of them, and they were so cute. And she shared that on social media. And I realized that is what happened there with both of those was the triangle of gratitude. I haven't really called it that before, and I don't know, I think I've ever shared this on the gratitude call before, so I'll just share with you really quick. There's this triangle of connection that happens when you're creating. And the top point, if it's, like a top point and then the base across the bottom, the top point is God, and you're receiving inspiration for what you can create. And then over on the left-hand side, there's self-expression. So that's your connection with you and your higher self that you're actually creating from that inspiration. And so it's like an expression of gratitude for the inspiration. You're actually creating something from it. And then the third point over on the right is sharing your success. So it's after the thing has been created that you're sharing it. So that is connection with other people. It's them expressing gratitude for you for the share. And so there's this 3-point triangle of gratitude that is facilitated through connection. And I realized that my garden this year is an expression of gratitude as well, because God obviously is giving me all the resources for my plants to grow. And then the self-expression, once that garden is picked, and like last night, I made something called cowboy candy. It's where you take jalapenos and put this really super sweet sauce on it and bottle it. And it's like sweet, hot, yummy stuff that you can put on crackers and treat teas and stuff like that. And so I used all the peppers that I had picked from my garden, and that was my self-expression. And I'm going to be sharing that with some friends at a little get together around Thanksgiving, as long as COVID-19 allows me to do that. And so that just completes that triad of gratitude. And I just realized how many places we can express gratitude in that way, where we receive of God's resources and utilize those resources in some amazing way that is, expressing our creative ability, and then sharing it with friends, whether it's just sharing on Facebook, if it's sharing some food, if it's, sharing an idea, whatever it is, that is just this triad of gratitude. Melissa, and then Robert.
I love that. That's really a neat concept. When you said upcycle, I actually thought of Tammy's share. She said that she's grateful that at the end of the week, you can recognize that everything before happened for good. And I just love that shift in attitude about, obviously we have good things that happen, that we're happy that happened, and then there's things that we're not happy that happened. But we can actually upcycle our perspective on things that happen that were hard. And in Utah, our governor just said is cracking down on COVID regulations, and it sounds like extracurriculars are going to be halted for 2 weeks. And I have my kids in a lot of extracurriculars. So I was thinking, instead of looking at it as a bad thing, because I love them going to their extracurriculars, I can actually upcycle my time with them, and use that time that they would have been doing, karate and gymnastics and piano, to bond with them or teach them something. I don't know, the sky's the limit. But with my attitude as like, I'm going to upcycle this time, and even upcycle my thoughts. So I just think, you can upcycle things, but you can also upcycle thoughts and time.
Beautiful. Thank you. Appreciate all of that. Robert.
So I did double check the meaning to make sure I was mentally correct. And it fit with what you said, that it's taking something and turning it into better, as one example. And I really thought, there was so much junk in my upbringing. Mm-hmm. It would be very easy for me to have become fallen into drugs, prison, mm-hmm. maybe even death because of the difficulties. But my mentality was to take what I was given, whether I was conscientious about it or not. And I'll use that word, upcycle, mm-hmm. to a very positive experience that now looking back, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Wow. Thank you, Robert. Super, super powerful. Thank you. Okay. Who else has something that they would like to share?
I'd like to share.
Go ahead.
So, as soon as the meditation started, I received this vision of, it kind of reminded me of like something out of Mary Poppins. Mm-hmm. I was riding a bicycle, but I wasn't riding it on the road like you normally would. As I was pedaling, I was being lifted up into the sky. Mm-hmm. And just recognizing like how effortlessly this elevation lifting was happening, and just recognizing that the higher that I went, the easier it became to pedal. And it's the same way as we continue to align ourselves with God, as we elevate our spirits on a consistent basis, that pedaling, the things that we actually are responsible for just become so effortless, and things just start aligning, and we see miracle after miracle. And I'm so grateful for that.
Wow, beautiful. I love that vision. Mary Poppins is the perfect example, isn't she, of just ease. And the most recent version of Mary Poppins, one of my favorite lines is when she says, "Today or never," that's my motto. And I just, if you can really upcycle your thoughts to believe that your inspired shortcuts are absolutely possible. And it's today. It's like today or never. I don't know, how we're going to do this, but God knows. So let's just go do it. And a lot of times we really force ourselves to stay on the ground with those two wheels. And it's like, nope, can't get up there. I got to stay down here. I got to keep, pedaling as hard as I can. But there's this easier way. And I love that visual. Thank you, Tammy. If we can upcycle our vision that way, I know that God can create it. I know that he'll create exactly what you expect. Kathy.
I'm like Robert. I had to look it up because the first things that I was thinking about was like in a 10-speed bicycle, which I've really never learned how to ride I've never understood how to gear up the different, and bicycling isn't my thing anyway, but um I'm but then looking it up and realizing, and upcycling, how it is like recycling. So, and so where did those words come from? I kind of get stuck in origin sometimes, um but I love the shares that have been shared about just change, and how you can take something um and give it new purpose. So recycling, upcycling, repurposing, and how the analogies in our life, and even how analogies work. Like, there was a story about a young girl that was learning to rock climb, and she just, you look at the wall and see everything from a distance and plan your path. But when she was on the wall, she was being guided by the person, her friend's father, who was um, holding the rope and guiding her, because all she could see was what was right in front of her. But when the safety and comfort of knowing that someone's got your back, but when she finally got to the top and how she could see it all, but there were also some limiting beliefs coming up about when I have repurposed something and I still see it as junk. So there were some really interesting things that were coming up about upcycling, recycling, repurposing, and being satisfied with what you've created.
Awesome. I love that. There's like 3 things that I wrote down that I just would like to share real quickly that you inspired me. First of all, sometimes things are junk. Sometimes we hold on to things and we think, oh, maybe one day I'm going to do something with this, but we don't really have the skill to create it into the version of it that would really honor it. And it's actually better to turn it over, sell it at a yard sale or give it to a thrift store or something, so that somebody can find it and be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I have the skills to make this into something really amazing and really honor this piece of junk that other people think is junk. I think sometimes we hold on to things too long, or we hold on to other people's resources that they could actually be using, and honoring that, creating in a way that is higher and better. That thought came to me. The other thought, as you were talking about the 10-speed bicycle and gearing up, kind of went in with your rock climbing visual as well, that when we gear up with a 10-speed bicycle, when we see a hill coming, we change the gears because we know that's going to be a little bit harder of a climb. So it's in the preparation for that harder climb that we're changing our gears. And if you think about it, when somebody's going up a hill, their legs are like going around and around, spinning, but it's easier in the crawl is, it's like this slow crawl, but your legs are spinning. It kind of is that Mary Poppins. It's like spinning your feet and you're just like slowly rising up the hill. But it's easier. It seems like, it looks like you might be like pedaling madly, but it's easier. And I also love that thought of planning your path, standing back, kind of planning it. But then when you're in the thick of it, that you really need that guide. So lots of really wonderful wisdom there. Thank you, Kathy. Tyree and then Betsy.
Okay, so I don't know if any of you have heard of the movement, like the no waste, zero trash sort of movement that's going on. Some people see if they can make it like how little trash, and some people can make it a whole year with no trash. I don't know. I'm not to that point, but I love using every part. If you look at the Native Americans and how they used every part of the animal for different things and they didn't waste. And I loved that. But I also, just listening to your comments, I thought of in General Conference for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, there was this talk by Sharon Eubank that I keep talking about, and it's called By Union of Feeling We Obtain Power with God. And she talks about this Olympic group of rowers that were just these small town and kids that people pitched their money in so that they could go to the Olympics to Germany. And they talked about this something called swing, And when you're rowing in perfect unison, that not a single action is out of sync, that's swing. And so she talks about it, and she said the rowers must rein in their fierce independence and at the same time hold true to their individual capabilities. And races are not won by clones, they're good crews with good blends, someone to lead the charge, someone to hold something in reserve, someone to fight the fight, someone to make peace. And no rower is more valuable than another, all are assets to the boat. But if they are to row well together, each must adjust to the needs and capabilities of the others. And I just thought that was beautiful, that when we are upcycling, we work in tandem and we work in harmony with each other.
Beautiful, really amazing thoughts there. And with that, no waste, zero trash. The thought came to me, it's probably really possible if you live with the land. I started to write living off the land, but living off the land would be taking and not giving back. And I think that's part of that no waste, zero trash is we've got to give back to the land. If we have, something that isn't useful for us, there's got to be some other use for it. And that would be, that unity and oneness like you're talking about. Also love that analogy of the rowing team. No wasted energy, zero, whatever waste on our energy. It's all focused on, living purposefully and achieving, according to God's plan in unity with him.
I just wanted to add one more thing. So they said that in that the pain, it says differences can be turned to advantage instead of disadvantage. Only then will it feel as if the boat is moving on its own. Only then does pain entirely give way to exaltation. Good swing feels like poetry.
Yes. Wow. That's so beautiful. Would you share that in the Facebook group, Breakthrough with Gratitude? That sounds like a really awesome story. And
of course,
the boat moving on its own, isn't that exactly what we want our life to be, is multiplying and replenishing, and just as if it's like returning to Eden. It's like, it's as if our life is just moving on its own. That would be the most beautiful way to live. Let's see, Betsy. Yeah, Betsy. And then we'll move to our permission process.
Yeah, when you were talking about the upcycling, and it was awesome what Tyree just said too, because one thing I learned in serving several, many missions per se in Africa, and some of the poorest villages in the world, where I would see these amazing, beautiful artisans that would have the eyes and the talents, and they would make what we would consider trash into treasures that they would then sell and care for their families. And so they would take bottle tops from what they would consider very expensive, a restaurant or something. They would come in from the villages and grab any trash that they could find. Even plastic bags is like this amazing, beautiful resource. They would carve what might be considered, yucky old driftwood or just discarded things. Even taking tire rubber and shaving it into strips to use as binding cords, or even tiny little strings to use to hang a beautiful carving. And so they would take the resources available, and my mind just went to how the Lord takes us as an artisan and crafts us into this beautiful, amazing artwork, that as we increase our resourcefulness and provide the very best to him and show up time and again, here I am, what can I do, how can I be used, how can you craft me into this amazing, beautiful thing? And he really just upshifts our souls and our lives and our abilities. And the more we show up, our resources just become so abundant, and it's more frequent when he blesses us and uses us for good. And it was just so beautiful. And I was reminded also of how the children would gather up. They would start with a rock, and then they would gather up little pieces of trash and maybe plastics, and sometimes maybe a piece of a fishing net. And they would craft a soccer ball, a football, and they would give so much life and joy into this ugly old piece of garbage, and just play with all that they had, and they cherished this beautiful creation. And I think appreciating and cherishing the beautiful creations around us, and living in a higher abundance.
Wow, beautiful. It takes me back to what I was sharing at the very beginning about that triangle of gratitude, that the inspiration of how can we use this? What's something that we can do to really honor this, and to use the resources that we have around us, and that self-expression of actually creating something and then sharing it. I think about just the soccer ball, like what joy that fishing net and whatever is just the leftovers sitting around created, and the joy that can bring as we open our hearts to inspiration of how we can create in a higher way. Thank you. Let's go ahead and shift over to our permission process. Go ahead and take a deep breath. And I invite you right now to really be open to two things. As Kathy mentioned, the limiting beliefs were already coming up for her. Be open and listen for some limiting beliefs that might be coming up for you as well, possibly some judgment about how you have maybe discarded things that were possibly useful if you had been open to inspiration, or maybe things that you're hanging on to, waiting for the inspiration, but just the time and energy is not quite there, or maybe the skill is not there to be able to utilize those resources. Or maybe you are seeing yourself as resourceless, and that you don't see the resources around you. Maybe there's some limiting beliefs about that. So just be open throughout this whole permission process to any limiting beliefs that might be showing up for you. And right now, allow yourself to be open to see resources in a different way. A lot of things have been shared about resources that maybe we had discarded in the past or seen as junk that are actually resources. We've had our minds open to Mary Poppins' way of living, that there's some ways that we haven't even experienced yet, or even experimented with yet, to have our life be easier, utilizing the resources around us, or experiencing something that is even beyond, is otherworldly, not earthly. So just be open for God to show you right now resources that you have not known before, and to let go of pride right now and ego of having to do it all yourself. And what's some new understanding that you're receiving right now about resources that are available to you, or that could be available to you if you would let go of pride and ego, having to do it all yourself. And again, just listening for those limiting beliefs that are popping up. And one more time, opening your mind and your heart to a way of being, upcycling your life, and being open to be shown the path on how to do that. Something new, a new way, new option that you had not seen before. Just be really open to see that path open up for you, or a doorway open up for you, whatever it looks like. And then also, again, listening for limiting beliefs that might be showing up about taking that path or opening that door. Take one more deep breath. And as you may have several limiting beliefs, I'm going to invite you to honor all of the limiting beliefs, but choose one, select one that would be the most important for you to deal with today on this call. And after the call, you can work on the other ones. Just let intuition guide you to the one most important one for you to focus on right now in this moment. And with that limiting belief, what is the cost if you hold on to that limiting belief? What must the universe bring you? What must happen? What must the law of attraction bring to you if you hold on to that limiting belief? And if you don't like what that limiting belief is creating for you, then right now you get to give yourself permission to choose a new belief that will create something different. And so if you're ready to give yourself permission to choose a new belief, say yes.
Yes, I am.
Awesome. I'm sure the universe heard that one. Thank you, Tyree. All right. So whatever your new beliefs are, go ahead and write those down. Something that will replace that old limiting belief and will also create openings for new things, new resources, new opportunities, new inspiration of how to utilize the resources that were available to you, being able to see, opening your eyes and being able to see in a whole new way. Maybe your vision's been blurred in the past, and this is an opportunity for these new beliefs to allow you to see clearly what your next steps are and how to utilize those resources that are available to you. Upcycle those resources and upcycle your life at the same time. And with these new beliefs, really embrace these new beliefs and allow yourself with these new beliefs within your heart, maybe holding on to them for security for right now in this moment until you create some physical evidence of them. I invite you to go to that place where there is a new path or a new door that is ready to be opened for you. And that as these new beliefs are helping you to upcycle who you are and allow you to shift up into this new way of being. And with the confidence that these new beliefs are bringing to you, go over to that door or step onto that path, get on your bicycle and pedal up into the sky, whatever it is. Just allow yourself that these new beliefs are carrying you there. And what is the one most important thing that you could do with these new beliefs in hand? What is the one most important thing for you to do to allow yourself to upcycle to a whole new way of being so that your life is easy, your burden is light, you just move and you easily are carried to wherever it is that you need to be, that all things work together for your good. What is the one most important thing that you could do today to really step into that upcycling way of being? Take one more deep breath. Put a smile on your face, knowing that you have all the information that you need. You have all the resources available to you. And all you need to do today is just this one most important thing. And when you have gathered all of these resources together and you know exactly what your next step is, I invite you to come back to the present. And I invite you to share your thoughts on our Breakthrough with Gratitude Facebook group. We are at the end of our time today. If there's something that you really, really want to share, go ahead and put that in the chat. And I will share that with everyone as we close. I do want to also invite anyone that is struggling at all to schedule a 15-minute call with me. You can just go to askwylene.com and that will take you directly to my calendar, and you can schedule a 15-minute mentoring session. askwylene.com. And this is Kathy that says recycling resources, recycling resources, upcycling up sources. The one true source is just to ask. Beautiful. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that share. Love you guys. We will look forward to being back together tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And in the meantime, go to our Facebook group, Breakthrough with Gratitude, share your thoughts there, and we'd love to celebrate with you. And again, askwylene.com if you need some extra support. Thanks, everybody. Love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. And I encourage you to tune in every day to the Daily Gratitude Call. And the Daily Gratitude Call happens live every weekday morning. Would love to have you join. So to find out how to join live, go to my website, wylenebenson.com. Thanks for tuning in.